everyone. I'm back to talk about the toiletry bag. I'm gonna do this now because I know otherwise I'm not gonna do it. When you get home, I'm just gonna get lazy and forget about it. So in case anybody's interested, I am going to talk about my toiletry bag for the Camino de Santiago. And again, this is very personal. Of course, it's gonna vary from person to person, whatever your needs are. I'm just gonna go over the basics of what I carry in my toiletry bag. Don't mind the mess here. I think this is in the frame, but anyway, I have to pack that in a little bit, so I'm gonna try to make this quick. So a lot of people pack their stuff in Ziploc bags, which is a good idea because obviously they're impermeable and they're very lightweight, which is a main concern amongst pilgrims, is to carry as little weight as possible. I have this little zipper bag here that came in like a suitcase. You know how the big suitcases sometimes come with like little attachments? This was an attachment from said suitcase. So I just grabbed it and I've had it for a while. I found it useful and not too big and super lightweight, so it's very helpful for the Camino. So very quickly, I think I said it on the previous video, the main thing, I think as far as toiletries, whatever medication you're on, if there's something that you need to take continuously, obviously pack that. Don't pack anything else. There's no need to pack like flu medicine or ibuprofen, maybe ibuprofen, I don't know. I just think like I said again on the previous video, all the stuff you can get along the way if you need it. You don't need to be carrying cold medicine for 800 kilometers if you don't catch a cold. If you do catch a cold, you can just walk into a drugstore and purchase something for it. So keep it simple. I think the only like medicine that I brought was throat lozenges. Is that how people are gonna make fun of me? How do you call it? Like they're just like strepsils basically, because my throat gets dry when I fly, so it's mostly for the airplane. And if there's any change in temperature, so that's like pretty much the only thing that I brought in advance. And I did need it. I used it a couple times. So that's the only thing. And then I did bring, but I'll show you. I said don't bring ibuprofen, but I brought, oh my god, where is it? Okay, I'm gonna try to keep it simple. I brought 4 Advils, 4 little, I got at Sephora, they have those little sample, little box thingies that you can get at Sephora. So I cleaned it and I put like 4 little Advils in here, and that's mainly because of period cramps, which thankfully I didn't even need. But instead of bringing like the whole Advil thing, and they even sell like travel size Advil, but it's bigger than this, so I put it in like in a smallest container as possible. So I brought 4. Thankfully I didn't even have to take them, and obviously that's something I could have gotten here, so I brought this as a precaution. Like I said, say you pack too much, I didn't even need this, even though it's tiny. Other basics: shampoo and conditioner, all travel size stuff. Don't bring big stuff. You can always, like, obviously the albergues don't usually have it, although now I see that they're having soap. Sometimes they have shampoo. They have like those big ones that are attached to the wall, like some of the albergues have that, so you might not even need it, but some albergues don't have it. So I have shampoo and conditioner. Bring like a small travel size. When you run out, you can just buy like another tiny one, so you're always carrying like very little, like tiny size bottles. So shampoo, conditioner, and then also soap. So this is like body wash that you can use, and I also use it to wash my underwear in the shower. So I use it very parsimoniously. I use very little so they last a long time, and again, once you run out, you can just buy a new small one. That's that. This is something I was going to talk about later. This is something I bought here in Spain. It's called Alcohol de Romero, which is, in English, it says spirit of rosemary. It's like a rosemary alcohol, I guess. It smells really nice. This is a tip that I got from the husband of a friend who lives in Leon. Like, he walked the Camino and we met them. It's a long story, but she's like a friend from Brazil. She's married to a Spanish man. They live in Leon. So when my mom and I were in Leon on our first Camino, We had dinner with them, and he walked the Camino, so he was giving us a bunch of tips, and he talked about this thing that I think you can only get in Spain. I don't know if it has a different name elsewhere, but it says here, spirit of rosemary. It's like rosemary alcohol. So we basically rub it on our feet at the end of the day, like after the shower, and in the morning before we put our shoes on, and it's supposed to help with blisters. Like it sucks up, like it dries your skin up in a way. I don't know if that's what it does, but it's supposed to be really good for blisters, and it really helped us. And it smells really nice. I don't know, maybe it's good for your skin too. I don't know if you can put it on your face, but I love the smell. So we got it when we first crossed the border into Spain, because we couldn't even find it in Portugal. So as soon as we got to Tui, we walked into a pharmacy and bought this, and I'm hoping to buy a new bottle to bring to LA, because I can't find this there, and it's always nice to have. So yeah, we used it, but there's still a bunch of it left. So that's a tip if you're walking the Camino. Go to a drugstore and purchase Alcohol de Homero. I don't know if you can read it. That's what it says. They have different brands. This is the smallest size we could find. So anyway, it's kind of big, but that's that. This is like a face wash, again, travel size. Get whatever brand works for you. This is just for me to use in the shower or in the morning when you wake up, especially because I have oily skin. I tend to break out, as you can see. So it's just a little face wash. This is something that I can't really go without. So I get like a tiny one. Toothpaste, get a tiny one. My toothbrush is like a fold out one. It's in the bathroom. Ta-da-da! Scissors, always useful. This is like tiny little scissors, nail scissors. You can use it, like scissors are always good to have, like little teeny tiny ones. Just keep in mind that if you pack these, you're not going to be able to take your backpack as a carry-on. Just like I showed in my previous video, I also have a Swiss knife, so I had to check in my bag for those reasons, because weight-wise I could have taken it as a carry-on, but because it's so silly, because I have like tiny scissors, but they're sharp, and I have a Swiss knife, I had to check in my backpack. But this is very useful. So, and all other pilgrims have also borrowed it from me because they needed it. So having little scissors are useful for a bunch of stuff. So I'd recommend it. That. Compeed. This has a different name in different countries. This brand, I don't know if you can get it in other countries besides Spain. But it's like a balm. I've seen it in the US. It has it like from a different brand. It's like a balm that you rub on your feet, on your toes, on your ankles. It's to prevent blisters. I don't know what it's made of. I don't know what the ingredients are, but it works. It's like a little greasy thing, and you just basically rub it on places where you're prone to get blisters before you put your socks on, and it's supposed to prevent them, and it helps. It's not. This is a brand that's not cheap. But it seems to do the job. So, but again, they have it in other brands as well. So that's the rubbing thing. And this is, I got this in Spain, so I didn't bring this from the US. They also have this little tiny things that comes in different shapes. It's also from Compeed, and this is also to prevent blisters. Like if you feel a blister coming, if you're like a spot's getting red on your toe or something, you just put one of these guys on, and it can withstand a few showers, so it will last a few days on your toes, and it's supposed to prevent blisters. And I found that for most of the time it works pretty well. Not all the time, because one time I felt a blister coming, I put it on and I got the blister anyway. But anyway, most of the time it does a pretty good job. Again, I don't know what's made of. It's not cheap. Like a little box like this with maybe, I don't know, 6, like it depends, because they have like different, there's a bunch mixed up here. They have different shapes, but it's like 4 or 5 euro for a box of maybe like 6 or 7 of this guys here. But again, it's one of those things that if it can prevent you from getting blisters, if it can keep you from being in pain, I say get it. So anyway, my mom and I got it. We got a bunch left. So useful as well. Also for blisters, I got this in the US. It's anti-friction powder. There's a picture of a monkey putting it in his butt. So I guess, I don't know if it's supposed to use it for children, but I basically, what I used to do for children, I mean for babies in their diapers and stuff, but I don't know. It's supposed to, it says here that it's for hiking as well. So what I would do in the morning, I would open my socks up, I'll throw a little bit of this, and then I would shake my sock to spread it, and it's supposed to suck in the moisture if your feet get sweaty, and it's also supposed to help prevent blisters and friction. So I use this pretty much every day. I think it helps a little bit. It's not specific for that, although it does say may also be used into footwear, sports pads, blah blah blah. So yeah, anyway, it's not a must, but I found it helpful. A little powder thing, like travel size. Dental floss, a must. It should be a must for everyone, but I'm not going to lecture you on dental floss. But I definitely need dental floss, and I floss every day, so definitely bring dental floss. Ta-da-da! Band-Aids. I brought a bunch from home. Thankfully, I didn't use them. So this is, again, one of those things that I brought out of, I don't know out of what, because I didn't have to, I could have easily have purchased them here if I needed it, but I didn't. So they're just, again, it's lightweight, but it adds like little by little, things add up. So I didn't need to bring this. I could have bought them here if I needed it, but it's also nice, like if a fellow pilgrim needs a Band-Aid, you can like give it to them. So that's nice, but again, not necessary, but I brought them. More body wash. So I have 2 now. Unnecessary. Shame on me. I could have just brought 1, but anyway. It's that. Ta-da-da. Let's see what else. Let's just do this. Ta-da-da. I got a little pomade here again on the Sephora thing. My mouth gets really dry. Sometimes I think I sleep with my mouth open. Very attractive. So this is supposed to help with cracking lips, basically. My comb. It's the only comb I have. This is my I don't know, I have like an emotional attachment to this comb because I had it since I was like 12 or 13 or something, and it goes with me all around the world whenever I travel. So this is my comb that I use after I shower. It's that. Very important. Sunscreen. This is not a superfluous thing to bring. You're gonna need sunscreen when you're walking, because you're outside all day. Sometimes it's really sunny, it's really hot. Even when it's not, you still need sunscreen. So this is like the smallest one. I mean, I could have found smaller ones, but this is a brand that really works for me because I do have oily skin. So this is like, I don't know, it's all in Japanese, I think, but it's like a small size, and this is something that doesn't make me break out. So yeah, sunscreen, whichever one works for you, just make sure it's not a huge bottle. Deodorant. So this is like not my favorite. It's cucumber, but it's the only one they had that was tiny. So I bought it, and it's been working. So that's that. Little deodorant, important. Not all pilgrims care about deodorant, but I think it's kind of considerate if you do. Obviously, it's better if you get the organic, aluminum-free ones, but this is the smallest one I could find, so that's that. It's not the one I usually wear, but it's the one for the Camino. More earplugs that I got for free somewhere that I shouldn't have brought too, but I did. I got a sewing kit that I didn't bring from LA. This is in a little hotel that I stayed on the Camino that had this, and I needed it because I had a hole in my socks. So I brought it with me to sew them. So yeah, this is silly. You don't need a sewing kit. You definitely don't need a sewing kit. More Band-Aids. I got little hair thingies. If you're a girl, you might need them. Like little hair things. This is something somebody gave me on my first Camino. I can't remember who it was, and I wish I did, because this is super useful when you're traveling, when you're at the albergues. Not just on the Camino, I use this on different trips, like when you go camping or whatever. This is just basically a cut piece of rubber. Or, yeah, rubber, basically. And I use this to, in the sink, to block the drain. So the pressure of the water makes this thing stick to the drain, and you can fill the sink with water, and you can wash your clothes, you can soak your t-shirts or whatever for as long as you want. If nobody else needs the sink for maybe like an hour or so, you can use it. So this is pretty useful if you ever need to fill the sink and it doesn't have a stopper. This is super useful. Like it was so useful that I brought it again. So this is great, and then you can just cut a piece of rubber basically. It's just super cheap. That's that. Very useful. Thank you whoever gave this to me. God bless them. Got more band-aids. Here is like a free, again, this is something, it's very personal, like you don't have to bring it. This is just a moisturizer that I got. It's like a sample from Sephora. It's like it's just for the eyes, and I think it's for the whole face. But so when you come out of the shower, you wash your face. Sometimes your face is a little dry, and this is again something guys don't really care about, so it's less for them to carry. Women usually care more about this thing. I don't want to be sexist, but I think there's truth to that. So so even though I have oily skin, when I come out of the shower and I just wash my face, sometimes it's dry, so it's nice to have a little something to put on. So this is like the tiniest thing that I brought, and it's pretty much the only like sort of vanity thing that I brought. I don't even know if it's vanity. Like I didn't have to bring it, but it was tiny. Again, it was tiny. It kept adding up. And on my previous Camino, I did the same thing. I had like a very small tube of moisturizer that you use, and it's helpful. That's the only thing. I have zero makeup. Zero, zero, zero. Not to say completely zero. I have lip balm. Have lip balm with sunscreen if you're walking during the day. That's pretty much it. And then I bought this in Portugal because I thought I was going to need it. I didn't need it as much as I thought I would. This is basically I don't know how to call it in English. It's like, it's for your nose. It's like irrigation for your nose, like saline solution, I think it's called. Because I do have like dry, I live in Los Angeles and my sinuses suffer there. So I always have to be like using saline solution, and I thought I was going to need it here, but I didn't. I think my nose is happy here. Galicia is very wet. It's very humid, so my nose likes it. So as you can see, I didn't use it very much, which I'm happy about, but I brought it and I've been carrying it. I didn't have to, but anyway, sometimes like with air conditioning and with heater, like some people have more sensitive nasal passages, so they need this. I found this useful. Q-tips. Again, not necessary. You don't have to bring them. This is travel size. I find them useful. I use them, so yeah. It's one of those things you can share with other programs. It's like, whatever, you don't have to bring them. I did. I have like silly things that I got at a little inn that I stayed with my mom, and it's like, oh, it's free, it's paid for, it's shampoo, let's take it. And then you're carrying more things you don't really have to. So that's that. That's pretty much it. That is my toiletry bag. Yeah, I'm ashamed because I want to show you. There's soap here from the hotel that I stayed with my mom. Like, I don't want to not take it. It says olive oil. It looks fancy. So I did. And look, it's still closed. I didn't use it. So again, there's a bunch of stuff here that I could have easily taken out to make my pack lighter. Say the Q-tips, the soap, the Advil, the Band-Aids. Let's take them out. Now it's like, oh, inside is a bitch because you can see like how much stuff you brought that you didn't need. Comb pads I need, floss I need, sunscreen, shampoo, conditioner, face wash, deodorant. So yeah, my comb. The powder, yeah, I would say bring it. It says it can help with blisters, as well as the alcohol de romero. But yeah, there's still some things I could have taken out here. But that's the gist of my toiletry bag for the Camino. I hope that helps give you an idea of what to bring, what not to bring. Some women do bring makeup, like basic makeup, mascara, whatever they want to bring, that's fine. Each person has their own Camino, their own journey, and they free to make their own choices, whatever they want to carry. That's totally, totally fine. You can bring whatever you want. You cannot bring whatever you want. I think part of the Camino is that we learn not to judge the next person. Oh, that person's bringing too much, or they're bringing too little, and now they want to borrow my stuff. It's like, whatever, you know, like we learn to respect each other and do what works for us and not judge the next person for what works for them. So I think that's one of the lessons we learn along the way. Alrighty, that's that. Again, this is getting too long. So that's the gist of the toiletry bag for the Camino. And also not mentioned here are feminine products. Let's just call them for what they are, pads. So basically on my previous Camino, I didn't bring enough pads, and then when the time of the month came when I needed it, I didn't have them, and I was in a tiny town when everything was closed and I didn't have anywhere to buy them, so I had to like rely on other pilgrims to help me out. So this time I came a little more prepared. I brought enough to get me going, at least until I get to a town where I could purchase more. So something to keep in mind for women, that's part of it. Yeah, and that's also lightweight. You don't have to bring a whole lot, just enough to get you by in the beginning if you find yourself in a place where you might not be able to get it, which can happen. So that's that. I think that's it. That's it for the toiletries. Yeah. Bon Camino.